Year 2020, for most of us, hasn't gone the way that we expected. Um, Things have changed in my life with what's going on, and I know that other people have experienced so much more devastation than I can even begin to imagine. I know a lot of people that were affected by the tornadoes that came through our area last night here in Cleveland and especially in Chattanooga. Jackson and I were able to go out and help cut a tree up for a friend in the East Brainerd area, blocking their driveway. So we were able to go down there and kind of see the damage of the things that it has done to that area, and not only that, but here in Cleveland, able to see some of that as well. And it's really devastating. Words can't really describe what's happening there, down there in Chattanooga and up here in Cleveland right now. But on top of that, we're still battling the COVID-19, the social distancing, and have to remember all of that at the same time. And we've got loved ones, members whose loved ones are in the hospital, hanging on for dear life or clinging to life, and those that are starting cancer treatments. The list really goes on and on. So many things are going on in the lives of so many people, so many loved ones. And so it goes without saying that we are experiencing things that we hadn't planned on. We're really experiencing the unexpected. We're going through unexpected times in our lives. And so, what I want you to do today, I want you to do three things. Number one, when this video is over, when you're done watching it, I want you to say a prayer. Pray for yourself, pray for your loved ones, pray for those that were affected by the storms, pray for those that are, in the midst of fighting for the life of a loved one. Pray for those that are dealing with the effects of COVID-19, whether maybe it's a loss of job or layoffs and things like that. Pray for those in your life, in your community, and in our world. And then when you're done with that, prayer is a very powerful thing, but we're also told to do good. And so pick up a phone, text, call, email, get on social media, whatever it is, whatever outlet that is that you use to connect with other people. I want you to call someone and check on them. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's someone you go to church with. Find out how they're doing. Ask if there's anything that you or maybe someone else could do for them. It's amazing how talking with and checking on other people can help you in your situation. I promise you it will. Number two, I want you to remember that our circumstances, your circumstance, my circumstance, does not trump the commands of God. And this kind of goes along with what I've asked you to do about praying for someone and helping someone is loving someone and showing that love for someone can go a long way, especially right now. You'd be surprised how, again, taking your eyes off of your problems, what you're going through in your life or your life of your family, and maybe momentarily, not permanently, but momentarily taking your focus off of that and putting it onto someone else, how that can really not only help them, but it can really help you. The greatest command, Matthew 22, Jesus said to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But the second greatest command that we really want to focus on in doing this is to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, again, in reality, you can't say that you love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength if you do not love your neighbor. And love is an action. By the way, let's remember that love is an action. Love is going that second mile. Love is getting out there and making, being intentionally pursuing the care of someone else besides yourself. Loving someone. And so again, the greatest command: love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And Jesus says the second is just like it: love your neighbor as yourself. And number three, I want you to focus on God more. I know that you're probably already focused on God, and that's good. I hope you are. But it's often during trials and difficulties in life, I hate to say it's sometimes easy, but for lack of better words, that's what I'll say. It's sometimes easy that we, not on purpose, but maybe, in the chaos of everything, we often forget to go to God first. We often forget to focus more than what we already are on God. No matter how out of control our lives may seem to be, or, how out of control the circumstance may be, there's one thing that will never be out of control, and that's the reign of God. The reign of God over your life and over this world. Now, is that difficult to see sometimes? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've never preached. I've never told anyone that it's easy going through difficult things. It's easy to see the reign of God, because sometimes it's not, to be honest. There are a lot of bad things that happen to good people in this world, and I can't explain it other than it's, we live in a fallen world. We live in fallen times, and I don't know why people struggle, but they do. It just happens, and knowing that doesn't make it easier to deal with, but focusing on God will. Focusing more on God will. So there's a song in the book of Isaiah in chapters 26. It's a song of deliverance that reminds God's people to have strength. That as his people, you can have strength, and that strength can come from God if you trust him. Okay? So this is what it says in Isaiah chapter 26, verses 3 and 4. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock. So what Isaiah says there is, if you want peace in your life, focus your attention on God. Okay? I'm not saying ignore the problem, ignore the situation in your life, but focus your attention more on God. And again, we can do that through prayer. We can do that through reading his word, studying, meditating on his word, his scriptures, surrounding yourself with godly people, those godly role models in your life. Those people that seem more godly than usually we are, those people that always have the right thing to say. Spend your time, get a hold of those people, and allow those people to be, maybe a help in your life. But when you do focus on God more, when you focus your mind and your heart on God more, when you place your trust in him and your hope in him, you will experience the peace of God. Isaiah gives us that promise, and he says, God is an everlasting refuge. He's an everlasting rock. So again, I encourage you to pray, to reach out to those, your coworkers, your neighbors, to reach out to your loved ones, to continue. I know so many are doing this already, but continue to check on one another, to allow God to be your focus through your trials, through the storm that you're going through right now in your life. The good news in all of this, there is good news that, yesterday we celebrated the resurrection. Yesterday we were reminded once again that Christ is risen from the grave and that Christ will come again. And in the meantime, we'll mourn. Christ may have risen, but until he comes back, until that second coming, we will mourn, we will weep, we will ache, and we will live alongside and will come alongside of people who are doing the very same thing, who are mourning, who are hurting. We will walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We will deal with so much heartache. But I want to leave you with this promise. One day, God is going to wipe away every tear. God is going to get rid of death. There's going to be no more hospitals, no more nursing homes. There'll be no more pain. There'll be no more tornadoes, no more hurricanes, no more bad weather. There will be, no more illness, no more disease. But until then, we will deal with these things. But if we focus our attention on God, if we focus our minds on the cross, if we lean upon Christ, if we lean upon the promises made by us, God has promised to never leave us and to never forsake us. Thank you all.